This is Tom and Joy. Aw, they are just so precious. But in this video, I'm building them all sorts of luxury houses, like this cabin, this modern mansion, and many more. So let's begin. It was a nice day, about mid-July. The birds were out, a little humid, and then Tom and Joy came crashing through the trees with their brand new Land Rover. They did hit a squirrel, but he's fine. See, he's okay. To get their mind off this, Tom showed me exactly where he wants his cabin built. So I followed these red plates with these bricks and eventually came up with a foundation for his house. And inside this open area, I am adding this heating and air conditioning system which will keep their house warm. And then I was about to continue when Tom said this. Yeah, I'm confused on the heating and air conditioning system since we don't exactly have power out here. And then I said, be gone! I know we don't have any electricity, but this will make sense later. But then Tom walked up to the house and realized that we need a lot of wood in order to build a cabin. And thankfully we're out in the middle of nowhere, so we happen to have tree after tree after tree after tree just lying around everywhere. Tom knew he could use these to build the ultimate cabin. So the next thing I did was build him this Lego chainsaw. With this puppy, he can cut down as many trees as he needs. And let me tell you, that was pretty much the case, because Tom cut down almost every tree on his land. This was a lot of work for Tom, but then Joy came over with this glass of lemonade, so he was okay. But Tom then realized that he wasn't strong enough to pull the trees back to the cabin. So then Joy tried to help him, but they were still too heavy. So the next thing I'll need to build Tom is this Lego four-wheeler. Using this, he can pull pretty much any tree with very little effort. And he did. Tom used that beautiful machine for days. But once he finally had enough trees stacked up, he was able to cut the logs in half, thus creating boards that we can use for this floor. But now in front of our house, we'll need to put down a bunch of these posts, and on top of that, I'll add this railing. That way Tom doesn't continue to fall off the porch. It's happened a lot. But then Joy started complaining about how she doesn't have a place to sleep. Okay, she's been sleeping on the ground. It is pretty sad. So I went and spent 10 minutes building this green Lego bed. We'll put that right here. I also built this couch, and here's a lamp. Over in this corner, I'm adding this refrigerator, along with the sink and this stove. And now Joy has a place to sleep, so she can no longer complain. But now if I add these 1x1 bricks with the studs on the side, that'll allow us to build these sideways log-looking walls. And with this technique, we can also add windows. Oh, look at them. They already love their home. But Tom did request that I mount a TV for him on the wall. And lastly, I'm building up this fireplace. I'll just mount that on this wall inside of our cabin, because what cabin doesn't have a fireplace? And to finish off their cabin, we'll need a tiny roof over their bedroom part of the cabin. And finally, these two large pieces that'll cover the main part of our cabin. And that pretty much completes their home. But then Tom walked over to this side of the porch and then almost fell off. Not again, Tom. Not again. So I decided to build up a stairway using these bricks. And on top of those, I'll put down these brown plates. And now they have stairs to their house. So don't get hurt, Tom. But now I'll put down a bunch of these rocks and stones along the bottom of their house, and that'll cover up the ugly red line that was there. And with a few extra touches like this plant on our window, and some plants along our rocks, Tom and Joy's cabin is officially completed. Everything was going right. Joy was getting her beauty sleep. Tom was watching The Office again, the exact same episode. But then Tom was standing outside on the porch, and then something really weird happened. Ah yes, Tom and Joy were getting hungry at the exact same time. And the problem is that they already ate all the food that I gave him in the fridge. Tom knew there was only one option left. So I gave him this hunting outfit and this hat. And of course he'll need his old hunting rifle. And our boy Tom is ready to hunt. So yeah, then Tom pretty much waited in a tree for like 3 hours and absolutely nothing happened. But Tom knew if he waited long enough, something would eventually reveal itself. So Tom waited, and he waited, and then he waited in the night, and then again in the day. Then Joy brought him out this glass of lemonade, and he continued to wait. But then finally, a squirrel came out. So Tom pointed his gun at the squirrel, but then remembered couldn't just kill another squirrel. It was probably related to the one he killed earlier. But then an owl tried to come out and catch the squirrel itself, and Tom, feeling bad about, you know, the squirrel's friend, he knew there was no other choice but to take out the owl. So Tom showed back up with the bird in hand. Joy was very excited to eat, but then they realized that they don't have anything to cook it with. With their stove still out of power, there's only one option left on the table. So I gathered some of these rocks in a circle. In the middle here, I'll put some of these clip pieces, and with those we can add these fire pieces. And now all that's left to do is add this little stick mechanism, and I'll add a couple of stools so that Tom and Joy can watch their bird cook. But after their bird got done cooking, I gave them these plates, and then I put their bird on top of that, and they ate until the sun went completely down. And with some full stomachs, it's now time for them to get to bed. Sleep well, Tom. But then the next morning came. Tom and Joy were in the living room when they realized they both need to use the bathroom. We don't have indoor plumbing here. So outside on the grass, I'm building this white toilet, and seeing how they are out in wide open nature, and animals could be looking at them, we'll also need to create a porta potty type contraption around that to give them privacy. Now there's something else that Tom loves to do that we haven't added to the country yet. Fishing. So over here, I'm removing this chunk of land, and I'll replace this green base plate with a blue one. Now we just need some dark tan and light tan plates to serve as sand, and that makes us a pond. Next, I'm gonna build up this fishing hut where Tom can keep his fishing supplies, like these cans of worms. And lastly, we'll need to give Tom his very own fishing pole. We'll put a rope and a hook through that, and now Tom is ready to fish for as long as he wants. And he did, because Tom sat out there for about 3 hours, and that was before catching anything. Then all of a sudden, he started to catch fish after fish after fish. Tom knew he had hit the jackpot, so he brought the fish back to the fire to cook them, but Tom realized that there's too many fish here to cook on this fire. He knew there was only one way left: a stove. But they still don't have any power, and this is affecting them in a lot of ways. They can't cook, they can't see in the dark with their lamp off, and the house is freezing at night with the heater off. Which brings us to our last build. I've built a little room here. Inside of this room, we'll need this little breaker box. They'll need this lever piece to turn on and off the power, and now we'll need to build up this tower until it's really high in the air. It's like way above the cabin. It's super tall. But up here, we'll need to add this rotary mechanism, and lastly, I'll connect these blades to that, and all of that builds us a wind turbine. That'll generate electricity to our breaker box, and from there, it'll send power to our cabin using this wire, and now Tom and Joy can enjoy their home all warm and comfy. But also for Tom and Joy, I'm going to make them a dream Lego mansion. It'll have an indoor pool and this movie theater. First, I bought this $17 base plate, and I'm going to add some ocean water here. We'll need different colors: clear pieces, blue, light blue, even white pieces. Looks great, but we'll need to add some rocks in various places to set off our look. Nice. Over here, we're gonna add some sand, so I decided to go with some light tan and dark tan plates. However, I did add some green and gray here and there. But now let's finish that up with some grass out front, and I've got a pretty good idea of what I want to use this space for. In the front here, I'm gonna add these rocks all along the beach line, and I'm gonna make this look better by giving it a bunch of these Lego slopes to give it more of a rocky feel. We'll also need to make some rock walls for each of these sides, and in the back here, I'm gonna make Tom his own personal man cave. It's a literal man cave. Let's start with adding a wall along the back side of Tom's man cave, and as you can see, I did leave this huge empty space here, so I'm going to fill that with a bunch of these tall bricks, and I'm also gonna put down some plates in the bottom. But lastly, we're gonna put 2 plates on top, and I promise this will make sense here in a minute. For this next build, we'll need a bunch of these black Lego bricks. Next, I'm gonna line up some 1x2s along our bigger bricks, and I'm gonna make this look better by putting red plates all over the tops. And now Tom has his own movie theater seats. But just in case he has some friends over, let's build him yet another row of seats. I did make this row a little higher off the ground, that way the people in the back can actually see the movie. But with that, let's add some plates along the floor, that way they can see where they're walking. This looks great, but the only problem is that we still don't have a TV. Oh wait, if I just gently slide my phone in the back here, Tom and Joy will have this 17-foot Lego screen that they can watch all their movies on. Looks nice. Now over beside our seats here, I'm going to put down this carpet. On top of that, I'm going to add this pool table. Looks very fitting for the room. Plus, Tom loves pool, so yeah. Over on this wall, we will need some pool sticks, and on the other side of the carpet here, I'm going to add this concession stand. We'll need some popcorn on top of this, some hot dogs, and the best soda in the world, Pepsi. Go ahead and fight me in the comments, I don't care, come on! Over here, I'm going to add a staircase to our second level, but before we get up there, we still have some space over here. First, I'm gonna add this door. Beside of that, I'm gonna put these 2 window pieces, and I'm gonna connect it all on top with some tile. Lastly, we'll just need this shower head up here, and Tom's shower is complete. However, he will need a sink in here, and apart from that, we'll build him his own private toilet. Of all the things he could have been excited about, he was the most excited about this. But with the bathroom complete, let's put a wall out front so that Tom can have his privacy. Lastly, I'm just gonna add some picture frames on this wall, and Tom's man cave is officially complete. Joy finally did come to visit on a boat. She basically said that she was tired of waiting for her own space since Tom now has his own, so we need to start working on the second level of this house. First, I'm gonna even up the rocks out here with our tan walls. I am gonna also build these brick supports for the floor that will be up here, and with all of that done, the only thing left to do is add a bunch of smooth tile along our walls. Now let's make Joy happy. So I'm gonna start with adding the ceiling on our first level that will serve as that's our floor for the second level. On our rocks out here, I'm going to add these green plates, but I'm also gonna add some other colors like brown and gray. That way we have some texture in there. And now I'm going to add a bunch of this grass all around, as well as some flowers. It's looking pretty colorful out here, so I would say it's time to get onto the house. So over here where our stairs come up, I'm gonna put down this kitchen flooring all the way across here. Over here will be our living room space, so let's put that flooring over here as well. I went with this glossy, rich looking flooring. Joy seems to like it, so I think it works. But on top of this nice flooring, let's add our refrigerator. They will need this stove, as well as some drawers and this sink. I also wanna add this island out here. Joy's loving the kitchen, but she might need some cabinets up top. So let's build up the walls behind our kitchen. I did leave some studs here. That way we can attach our kitchen cabinets just like that. But I just realized that they have nothing to cook with and nothing to eat. Yeah, we heard that, Tom. So let's add some forks, knives, and spoons, ketchup and mustard, a hot dog, and of course, Pepsi. I also filled the fridge with a lot of junk. Anyway, we do have this section outside. Let's just continue using our light and dark gray plates out here as well. Looks great, but there is something missing in this gap here. So I'm just gonna add 4 of these tall black windows, and this seems a bit short for the house, so let's add 4 more of these tinier black windows on top. And with that, I'm gonna add a chair here, a table here, and another chair on the other side. This will be a cool place for Tom and Joy to hang out and talk, and maybe even read a book. Anyway, let's move on over here. I'm gonna build up the walls here to create this squared in area. In here, I'm gonna add this door. I'll also add this little window piece on top of the door, and we'll finish this up with adding some bricks on top. Let's add a little porch light, nice little finishing touch. Our front porch looks good. Moving on inside, in the living room area here, I'm going to add a couch here and one more over here. Another awesome place for them to relax. Looks nice, but over in this space, I'm going to make another bathroom. Joy wants her own, what can I say? So I decided to start with adding this checkers board flooring for this bathroom. Over here, I'm gonna add this white flooring. On top of that, I'm gonna add this door, this curved window, and a wall, and on top, I'm gonna add these plates. Looks familiar, right? So behind our shower, I'll need to add this wall. We'll also need another toilet and a sink. Lastly, we'll need to add this door and build up our walls. And now Joy's bathroom is complete. She did say that Tom's not allowed to use it, I don't know why. But now it's time to add a staircase to our 3rd level, and now I'm going to finish it off with a wall across the back of our house. However, we still have this open space in the front here. Joy said she wanted her own space just like Tom has downstairs, so I think we can make this room for her. First, I'm gonna start off with adding some light tan flooring. In the middle here, she will need her own couch. On this side, I'm gonna add this lamp. On the other side, I'm gonna add this little desk and another lamp. You can't have enough lamps. I'm also going to add this bookshelf since Joy reads books, and with that, let's add some walls in the back of this room. Yes, I meant to put this blue ceiling here, it'll make sense in a minute. But now I'm gonna add a bunch of these tall windows as well as a bunch of short ones just like we did on the other side. And just like that, our 2nd level is complete. Tom's man cave might have been a little cooler, but Joy has an excellent view of the ocean. They still hang out up here together though. But anyway, let's get to building the floor for our 3rd level. Up here we'll have their bedroom, but there's one special part that I wanted to add right here. First, I'm gonna add these gray plates on our floor, and on these blue plates, I'm going to add this smooth, clear tile. And now Tom and Joy have their own pool up here. This looks great, but let's get onto their bedroom. So I'm gonna start again by adding the same exact dark gray and light gray floor that we had downstairs. I did leave this spot empty over here, and that's so that I can add some more bathroom tile. In this bathroom, I'm going to add a toilet and another sink. I promise you, I'm not obsessed with bathrooms, but yeah, they probably have too many at this point. But anyway, let's add a door and some walls around this bathroom. Looking nice up here, looking nice. Over here, we'll need a bed. So I'm gonna build what I think is the equivalent size of a king-size bed in Lego. Tom and Joy both approved, so I think we're good. Next, I'm going to add 2 desks on each side of the bed. We'll also need a couple of lamps on those. Lastly, I'm gonna add them this dresser. And now our 3rd floor is complete, so let's build up the walls on each side. And in front here, I'm going to add again some of these tall windows. I did angle the walls up here, and that way when we add our roof, it won't have to lay flat. But with their house done, let's send them on their honeymoon! Which of course could only mean
a Verbo house.
So in this video, I will be testing my building skills to the max to create the perfect honeymoon experience. Let's begin. So the first thing I'm doing here is building them their own personal island, which will obviously need to be surrounded by water. Oh yes, dangerous water that is probably filled with sharks. But unlike the wedding island, this island is very green, but not nearly green enough. So I brought in a lot of these little Lego flowers, and now this island looks a whole lot better, but we still need some more plants. So I'm gonna add these ones with the little leaves. I also have this weird bush one that kind of looks like Yo Mama, if you know what I'm saying. And lastly, I put some trees around the island, which I think livens it up a lot. Then Tom and Joy came to visit, and Tom said, "Oh wow, yeah, well, it looks pretty good." And I was like, "That's it? I made you an island." Then I looked at Tom and his 2 little beady eyes, and I I said, "Be gone!" And he was gone. But what I didn't know was that Joy was wandering around the island by herself, and she ran into a mountain lion. But thankfully a tree branch broke and it scared the mountain lion away. At least for now. However, something about this encounter made Joy frightened of this island. It was so bad that Tom had to get her in the car and drive away for a few days, leaving me with the job of building them their verbal house. So over here, I am building the foundation of what will be the garage. But Tom and Joy both have a car, and there's only enough room here for one car. So we'll need to extend this garage foundation, allowing 2 cars to fit perfectly. And as you can see, I left a lot of studs all over the floor, and that's so that we can add some accessories inside this garage. Like right here, I put 4 studs down, then I added this plate, put 2 of these Lego drawer pieces together on top of that, and finished it off with some tile on top. And that'll make you a workbench where you can keep all your tools. And I'm gonna put that over here. Next, I found this Lego refrigerator piece, and I just filled that with a bunch of junk food for Tom. Except, of course, these Pepsis, because we all know Pepsi's the best soda in the world. But I totally don't drink Pepsi. What's that doing? So at this point, we need to build up the walls on this garage. But I just realized that one of the cars is sticking out just a bit far. So we're gonna need to extend this pavement, allowing both cars to fit perfectly. Next, I'm going to add this layer of brown bricks at the bottom of our walls. Yes, I know brown is not the most attractive color. Even Tom has been giving me a hard time about it, but I promise it will look good. So now I am building up some white walls on this garage. And as you can see, I left a couple of square spaces open on this right side. And that was for these 2 windows, which are brown and will nicely match the bottom layer of our garage. And I did also leave these studs on the walls. And if we just add 4 of these 1x4 brown tiles, we'll have ourselves some shutters for these windows. And now we'll just finish up the walls here. With that, all we need is a garage door. So if we just, oh, come on! So first, we'll just need to build up these sloped walls on both sides. I'll come back to those. Right now, we need a garage door. So I'm gonna put a bunch of these gray plates down. And in these 2 empty spots, I'm gonna add our hinge pieces. And now I'm gonna add a bunch of white tiles to make this garage door smooth. I'll add this layer of brown on the bottom. We'll need these 2 brown pinchy thingies, along with this brown stick, which will serve as a handle for this garage door. And now our garage door is finished, and we can snap that right on the garage there. All we need now on this garage is a big old roof. So I'm gonna put a bunch of these brown plates together, and on top of those, a bunch of brown tile strips. This will give kind of the feeling of a metal roof. And if we just add this brick on the bottom, our roof will attach just like that. And with all that done, our garage is complete. Anyway, Joy came back and now she's mad because apparently she can't live in a garage, which means we're gonna have to build the house. So over on this left side of the garage, I am putting down some black flooring. Our living room will be here, our bathroom will be over here, and our kitchen right here. So first off in our kitchen, I'm going to add some drawers. Inside those, I'll put some spoons and forks. Next to our drawers here will be our sink, and we'll just finish that up with some countertops. With that there, all we need now is our kitchen fridge. This time I put some very healthy food that will better their bodies. Just kidding! I filled that fridge full of junk and also a Pepsi. But next to our kitchen here, we'll need a toilet. Tom was very extra excited about this for whatever reason. I don't know why. But now we'll just need to build a wall that divides the kitchen from the bathroom, you know, because you need privacy. So, on this wall, I added one of these little knob pieces. And if you just add one of these 1x1 white cylinder bricks, you officially have yourself toilet paper. Now that we have a wall here, we can add our microwave for the kitchen. And we'll also need a door to the bathroom. With all that done, let's get on the living room. First, I am building this couch, and that'll fit perfectly right here in this corner. And the only other thing you need in a living room besides a couch is, of course, a TV. Now we just need to add some stairs, which will lead to our next level. But before we do with Tom, come on, there are no walls. But before we move on, we'll need to make the walls to this first level. With that, I want to add some smooth tile on top, and that'll make it easier to remove our second level once it's there. But I have one more finishing touch I want to do on this first level before we move on. I'm just going to build some brick layers up on these corners, and that completes the first goated layer of this house. Anyway, again, Joy decided to walk around the island today, no particular reason, and she was having a great time. Until a mountain lion came out. The wild beast had killer in its eyes. But luckily, Tom came speeding by with his car and scared the mountain lion away. Joy was very angry about this, which means we need to finish this house. So right now, I am building this white foundation for our second level. This entire floor will be Tom and Joy's bedroom. Right here in this open gap is where our stairs will come up. And right next to that, I'm going to add this rug. Sort of a home warming gift, you know? Now I'll just put put down the actual flooring to this floor, and with that, we need to add some furniture. First off, I am building what might look like a dresser here, but it's actually just a place to keep their clothes. Over here on the actual flooring will be their bed, and for their bed, I decided to make them a standard king-size mattress. At least, I think that would be pretty close to a king size. And lastly, for furniture, I am adding 2 desks on both sides of the bed. And that pretty much sums all that up, but we still need to build the walls. And on those walls, I have these perfect little picture frames that will go on display. And now, all we need to do is just add our roof. So I went and built these 2 brown roof pieces that are similar to the one I built before, but just, a lot smaller. Those attach on just like that. And now that that's done, our second level is complete. But now, Tom and Joy are expecting a baby. So in this video, I will have to make them the dream house. The perfect dream house. One that has a kitchen and a living room and a laundry room, but also really cool stuff like a hot tub. And of course, a porch that overlooks an amazing view. And we have to do all of this in 1 week before the baby is due. So I say we better get started with digging what every home needs, a well. And you can believe I tried pretty much all the options there are to digging a well. Until, finally. You can just see it on their plastic faces. They can already see this home coming together. And we are here wasting time. We need to step on it. So I am now building the foundation. This part over here will be our garage. And I'm really trying to make this part big because with 2 people, you need enough room for 2 cars. And I think that looks great. But what's more important is the house right now. So Tom and Joy wanted the house part of this a little more levitated. So I raised it about 3 bricks higher than the actual garage part. And to get up there, I added a few steps. And just to make sure that no one falls off the front here, I'm going to add this rail. And while I was moving on to the next step, Tom and Joy had a problem with their car. And while I don't know what's wrong with their car, Tom and Joy have an appointment that they're late for. So we have to build them a car. And now that they have one, they can get to their appointment and we can get back on building the house. So going back to the garage here, I'm going to build this frame that leaves 2 openings for 2 doors, using the same brick technique that we used on the foundation for the house. And behind that, I went ahead and built the part that keeps the garage door in place. And now, if we connect a bunch of these clear pieces, we'll have our garage doors. But we still need a wall around the garage. And so I built up the garage using these white bricks. And I added a door and a few windows just to give it that homey feel. But we're gonna need some stuff inside the garage if he's gonna fix his car. So I went ahead and built this toolbox, filled that with all kinds of tools. I placed that on that side. Then I built this cool workbench that has pegs to hold up his tools. I decided to put that right next to the toolbox there. And after that, I added this mini refrigerator. That way, he'll always have a cold soda on one of those hot summer days. But we can't be littering, so I did add this trash can too. And with that, I added a roof on top and our garage is complete. And then I quickly realized after building the garage that the landscape needs some serious work. So I added this black mulch all the way around the garage using these dark Lego pieces. I then surrounded the mulch with a lot of these studs, which serve as rocks. I added some Lego flowers and then called it good. But then I realized that we have a problem. It's getting dark. Tom and Joy are gonna need somewhere to stay, and I haven't even started on the actual house. So the best solution I could come up with was to build them a tent, just to stay in a couple nights until I get the house finished. I did put 2 beds in there for them, and outside I built this cozy little campfire. And around that, I put 2 seats and of course some sticks to cook some marshmallows with, just in case they get hungry. Wow, looking at this, I can't even tell which one's gonna be cozier, the campfire or the house itself. I don't know yet, but Tom and Joy really seemed to enjoy that campfire when they got back. This means that I have to try extra hard tomorrow to make this house absolutely perfect, or they might not like it. And speaking of, it is now day 2 of our incredible house building journey, and the goal is to build the living room, the kitchen, and the laundry room all today. But as you can imagine, we have other problems. So this morning, I made Tom his own personal fishing pond, and while he loved it so much that he stayed out there all morning, a mountain lion that lived nearby also liked that pond very much. And as you can imagine, this scared Joy pretty well. Tom is talking to her right now, but this means that we have to get this house done. So over on this left side, I am building the living room. I'm gonna build with the same white bricks that we used for the garage. And the idea for the face of the house, I wanted to add a bunch of windows. That way you can look out and flex on all the money you don't have. Well, at least they don't have any money because they gave it all to me to build this house. But moving on, I did make them this cozy little Lego couch. And it fits really well right there in the living room, along with this 100-inch TV. Yeah, you can bet they're not gonna have any problems seeing that. And I think we all know that every cozy living room has to have a fireplace. And lastly, I did build this one last chair, this lamp, which, what living room doesn't have a lamp? And a bunch of random pictures on the walls of people that they don't know. And that basically sums up the living room. Got a nice little fire going in here, the couch is all comfy, but they still can't sleep inside tonight because they don't have a roof. And I hear we're in for some pretty bad weather. So unfortunately, it's back in the tent for them tonight. And I think I'll hit the old sack myself. I'll be seeing you on day 3. That night, the storms did come in. The creek started rising along with trees falling over. You can imagine Joy wasn't happy when she got up, especially when she saw this. Ooh, it's a good thing I built that cage the night before. Joy seemed to be very happy knowing that this mountain lion had been transported miles away from their home. She could finally get her rest, and Tom, well, he could finally enjoy his fishing. Now, as for me, I'm getting on the laundry room. The laundry room and kitchen are side by side back here. And as you would expect, the sooner we get those two done, the sooner we can be done with this first floor and get onto the bedrooms upstairs. So for the laundry room, I built this washer and dryer, added this hamper for clothes, then I added some shelves in this room just in case they need to keep any storage in there. And that basically sums up the laundry room. And for the kitchen, I'm using the same flooring here. Now this is Joy's personal space. Tom has his garage and she has her kitchen. So we have to make this really special for her, just like we made the garage special for Tom. So let's make some nice kitchen counters here. Add some drawers on those there. Let's go ahead and add the stove and refrigerator. It's already looking so nice. She's gonna be very happy with this, especially if we add some extra cabinets up on top. And on these little hooks here, we can add a pan, this knife, a fork, and a spoon, of course. It also needs a microwave up here. And now that we have all that done, let's surround the kitchen and laundry room with walls. And as a finishing touch, I added this island along with 2 stools. Tom had his own idea and put some flowers in there for Joy. Oh yeah, he knows how to work it. All you guys out there, you need to be taking tips from him. But this brings us to the end of day 3. On day 4, I added this staircase in the living room that leads to the 2nd floor. And speaking of the 2nd floor, we need to build that floor, as in the actual flooring. I did start this process by building the coolest little overhead. That way you could step outside on one of those cold, rainy mornings with your cup of coffee and not get wet. And speaking of staying dry, I went ahead and layered this floor across the first layer of the house. But we still need to knock out a space there for the stairs. And right then, I heard this. Tom knew it the second he heard it. The baby was unexpectedly coming early. So he got her in the car and he drove off like a madman to that hospital. And with the baby on the way, I had to dart right back on the house. So on the 2nd floor here, I decided to go with a couple balconies, one on the right side and one on the left side. And for this one on the left side, I'm gonna keep it pretty basic. But for this one on the right side, I wanted to kind of wrap around the house so that they have more room to walk around out there. The staircase comes up here, so my idea is that we use this as a hallway. And right over here, at the end of their hallway, will be a perfect spot for their bathroom. So I went ahead and put the floor down, added this shower, this sink, and of course a toilet. I then put up these walls to close up the bathroom. I also put up some decorations like this lantern and this mirror that doesn't really do its job, but it'll have to work. I then proceeded to make the baby's room. This room was very important as it needs to be very comfortable for this baby to sleep in. We'll need to make a very comfy crib, some toys like this little train, this teddy bear, and a few other toys. And I think that looks pretty good, so let's close that room up. And lastly, for the 2nd floor, we do have the master bedroom. I started off with making this king-size bed, which is absolutely needed for a master bedroom. And beside of their bed, I added a couple of these mini tables with lamps on them. And while they're sitting in bed, they might want to watch TV. So this room is now finished. But as soon as I built up the walls, I got a call from Tom saying that they're already coming home with the baby. And as soon as I heard the news, I hurried to finish the roof. And of course, the hot tub that I promised them. And when they got here, it was like love at plastic sight. But they have a friend named Dracula. One day, Drac here was just kind of walking down the street when all of a sudden, he felt his skin burning from the sun. Ah, my skin is melting! And Drac, now realizing this at the young age of 1,684, decided that the ground which he was standing on would be the perfect spot to build his glorious haunted house where he could get out of the sun. So right here, I decided to help Dracula by making him a basement floor. I mean, it doesn't look like much right now, but trust me, it's gonna get better. I did go ahead and build this TV stand, and I bet you'll never guess what I put on top of that. Flower pot. I'm kidding, a TV of course. I also built him this couch, but he didn't seem to like it. He said he wanted a coffin instead. I don't know why. But I also built him this massive wardrobe to keep down here. And with that, Drac can be busting out his different fashion outfits while he watches TV. And there is one more empty spot right here. I did find this cool refrigerator looking thing in my collection, and that's exactly what I'm gonna use it for because, you know, Drac needs a fridge. So I put this garlic in there, this wooden steak, and of course the best soda of all time, Pepsi. Go ahead, fight me in the comments, I don't care. I dare you, I dare. So now, I am building the walls to the basement. I was gonna add some windows, and then I remembered our friend Drac here doesn't really like the sun, so yeah, we're going windowless on this bottom floor. I also just realized that I forgot to put stairs down here, and as you can see, there's really no spot to put them. Seriously, how can you forget floors? Wow. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, what is going on in your brain? Hold up, it's fine. We'll just put a trap door up here. He can fly up. He's a vampire. vampire. But up on top here, I put a bunch of smooth tile down, along with these 1x4 plates with studs. And with doing this, we can put our roof on top and it won't get stuck to the point where we can't take it off. So yeah, definitely tell your dog about that. But even with all this finished, this build is looking a bit, boring. So I'm gonna add these black plates over here that'll serve as mulch. And we'll also need to put some rocks there to keep our mulch in. Also, by now you're probably wondering what this big ugly gap here is, and we're gonna get to that in just a minute. But on the other side here, I'm just adding some more black mulch and of course our rocks. And for the landscaping itself, I'm not gonna use flowers like I usually do because, after all, this is a haunted house. So instead, I added some skeleton heads, some plants that don't exactly look very lively, and of course, some gravestones. And I would say this place be looking kinda haunted from the outside now. But that doesn't fix the fact that there's still a big ugly gap here. And I'm going to fill this spot with some stairs. But I don't wanna go with gray stairs because that'll blend in too much with the walls. I will leave these brick supports for our steps, but I think brown stairs would look a lot better on a haunted house. And on top of those, I built some rails so that nobody falls off the side. And with all that built, we are officially done with our basement floor. Yay! Wow, so awesome. Now, up here on the second floor, this right here will be our entrance. The door will obviously be right here. Our haunted living room will be on this half of the house, and the other side here will be the kitchen. This right here is the door to the basement. I mentioned this earlier. So around this, I'm going to build up some walls so that nobody falls in. And on these walls, I think Drac would appreciate some pictures of people he doesn't know, as well as a picture of a bridge he's never seen. The only thing left this room needs is a door. I found this really spooky one that I think will work pretty well, and with that, I think we are done with this room. Next, we're moving on to the kitchen. Now, I thought to myself, a vampire's kitchen floor must consist of white and black colors and be in this checkers board sort of pattern. Kinda classic, am I right? Now, I did add some studs here in the kitchen, and that's so that we can add our appliances. First one I'm building here is the refrigerator. You can open it, and it does have shelves. Beside that, I'm building some counter space, and also this massive sink. Next to that, we'll have our oven, and then one last little tiny piece of the counter there. Drac will also be needing this trash can, and that pretty much completes our kitchen layout. But I am not forgetting the stairs this time. These will lead to the third floor. We'll be there soon. But right now, we are ready to get on the living room. And being a living room, I'm thinking all wood floors in here. I left several studs on the floor so that I could add these drops of, I'm not gonna say it, you know what they are. And I did leave more studs on the floor, but these are not for, you know. I decided Drac should have another couch in this living room. And yes, this one is much smaller, but we just don't have the room up here that we had downstairs. And because of that, I also had to cram this little TV stand in here, along with the TV, and it sorta works. It's tight, I don't know what I'm... And now, for our entrance, I did add some more wood floors, as you can see here, and I wanted to add this coat rack. There's a lot I could add here, but I'm gonna keep this simple. I found this cool looking door that I think will work for our entrance here, and with everything now done, I think it's time to start building up the walls. I'm going with the sand green color for the siding only because it looks really cool and it's kind of the only color I have that will work for a haunted house. I'm also adding this gray brick technique on the corners because vampires are kind of known to be around the medieval times, so the brick fits. And with all that done, I would say it's time to get onto the third floor. So I'm going to add a layer of gray bricks, and this will help us fade into the next color of the house. However, I did leave these two spots open, and that's on purpose. So for these empty spots, I'm putting down some plates, and on top of those, I'm going to add a bunch of these little 1x1 round pieces, followed by more of these gray plates. And that adds a nice subtle blend to the next floor. But before we move on to that, I did put some studs on the side of the walls here, and I did that so that we could put boards over the windows to give it sort of a haunted, abandoned feel. And with that done, it's time to build the foundation for our third floor. This is where things are gonna get spooky. But wait, is that door upside down? Oh my, it is upside down. Let me just, there we go. Next, I am adding flooring to what will be sort of a hallway through here. I am thinking 2 rooms up here, 1 bathroom and 1 bedroom. So, for this bathroom, I wanted to go with the same checkers board style floor. Oh yeah, that flooring goes hard. But notice I've left this empty spot in the back here. All you have to do is build a wall around it, and you'll end up with this hollow box that looks something like a shower. Cause that's what it is, it's a shower. Another thing we need in this bathroom is a sink. I'm just gonna add that right here, along with this glorious turlet. And these 3 things are probably all you're ever gonna need in a bathroom, so I'm gonna call this done. I am gonna add this door that'll lead to his bedroom. And with that done, let's build up some walls. As you can see, I did switch up the color on these bricks for the 3rd level. And that's just because I didn't want to go with the same color and possibly make it boring. But anyway, now it's time to make Dracula's bedroom. Bedroom dance! I'm just kidding. In Drac's bedroom, I wanted to add some tan floors. Of course, I had to leave more studs on the floor for, you know. But Drac might need another wardrobe up here. You can never have enough wardrobes, just how life is. Drac will also need a bed up here. So I built him this perfect little bed, and of course he didn't like it. He said he'd prefer a coffin. I am not about to let Drac down. oh no. But now it is time to build up the walls around his room, and as you can see, I added these cool little windows. They are something. But I also left a bunch of studs on the walls, and that's so that I could add these picture frames. And I wanted to add this skeleton that is hanging from chains. It's, pretty sad. But with all that done, I would say Dracula's room is now complete. However, we still have this hallway here in the front that is not finished. So, we'll need to build a wall up on this left side. Now, I really do like windows, so I'm going to build up a wall on this right side and add a window again. Don't judge me, I think it looks cool, alright? And it looks so cool that I want to add it one more time on this wall in front. I really like that. It looks like a sunroom, which I guess is not very good on Drac's end. But the last thing I need to do on this level is add the boards over the windows. And now that we have all 3 floors looking super extra haunted, it is time to add a roof on this house. So over our bathroom, I am adding these slopes. These will allow this roof piece to lean sideways. But over Drac's room and our hallway here, we're gonna have one big roof piece for that. First, we'll need to make these triangular slopes for our roof to sit on. And with those there, we just need to build this massive left part of the roof. I'll just put that in place right there. And then one very similar piece for the right side here. With that done, our massive haunted house is now complete. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.